Still trying to get over this. At this time, let me get my eyes here. I'm going to introduce to you our chief, who is Chief Ann Richardson, who has served as our chief of the Rappahannock tribe since 1968. She's the first. 98. We believe in young chiefs, don't we? You're welcome. She's the first chief to lead the Rappahannock tribe in Virginia for over 1,700 years. And as a fourth generation chief in her family, she brings to her position a long legacy of community leadership and services and local government among her people, businesses, nonprofits, and individual resources that are considerable as evidence of what we are here today to celebrate. It's my honor and privilege to introduce our chief, my chief, Ann Richardson.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jerry. I asked Jerry to be my MC today because he always cuts up and carries on, and we poke at each other all the time, and he keeps everybody laughing. I would like to thank the Mascapel Drum for all that a beautiful, beautiful song. Thank you so much. This is so surreal for me. So I thank you for coming to the Return to the River celebration with us today. It is with great humility and thankfulness to God that I welcome you all here today on behalf of the Rappahannock tribe and the ancestors who worked so hard for today but never lived to see it. However, I do believe that their spirits are here with us today in celebration of our long-awaited return to the river. Where I must first acknowledge God and his divine powers as our creator, who through the laws of reciprocity has truly orchestrated this day of restoration for our tribe, bringing us full circle back to the beginning, to renew the life of the tribe, to prepare our next generation of leaders for the future, and ensuring that this sacred place is protected with all its plants and animals which are so essential to the sustaining power of life for everyone. We are truly honored to be joined today by the Honorable Deb Holland, Secretary of Interior, and the first Native American woman to serve in that position. She is turning our country in the right direction. All the representatives, Kimberly, Bouchard, representatives of the Department of Interior, Bureau of Indian Affairs, thank you all for being here. Kipke Carroll with United South and Eastern Tribes, who has been a tremendous support to our tribe as we got recognition 4 years ago and were lost until we had people like him to help guide us to where we needed to be. Thank you, Kiki. For all the various state and federal government agencies, from Governor Youngkin's office and from Senator Kane's office and Warner's office, these are the men who fought for us in Congress so that we would be the generation that would see the dreams of our ancestors come true. Donors, the Engel family, the amazing Engel family, thank you so much. Morris family. Thank you so much. The volunteers and friends who have supported us and prayed for us and stood with us through all of this. Thank you so much. We welcome you on this momentous occasion to share with us in the celebration of our return to the river that we have dreamt about as long as I've been alive, and I'll be 65 in September, that my dad dreamt about and my granddad dreamt about. And so we know that the dreams of our ancestors have come true, and they are here with us to celebrate. It has been a long journey for the tribe's restoration to the lands of our forefathers, to be able to reconnect with the DNA that is in the ground on the cliffs, in those 3 towns that Captain John Smith first mapped when he came into our river, when we first defended our homeland against invading forces. The town of Chesapeake, the town of Wecoupam, and the town that we have just purchased, Pissacoac. We thank you, Dr. Julie King and Dr. Strickland, for your amazing archaeological work to restore history to our tribe that had been lost forever, so we thought. To Dr. Ed Reagan, who is our tribe's historian, who worked tirelessly for 20-some-odd years to look and search through the records, to find the missing pieces to our history. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. And yet it was only through our partnership with the Chesapeake Conservancy, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, the Wilderness Society, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, the Morris family, the amazing Engel family, and cultural heritage partners that have made this miracle possible. We are truly grateful and can never thank each of you enough for your roles in this amazing acquisition. I cannot tell you today how full my heart is. And now I would like to introduce to you Mr. Joel Dunn. He's the president and the CEO of the Chesapeake Conservancy, who has relentlessly pursued the protection of Fawn's Cliffs for as long as I have known him. He never gives up. He never takes no for an answer. And that's why I have named him my Red Warrior. He is truly a trailblazer for the Chesapeake Conservancy. I am proud to call him friend. He's walked with me through all of this. I'm proud to serve on the board of such an extraordinary organization which has impacted conservation at warp speed. Now join me in welcoming Mr. Joel Dunn.
Thank you so much, Chief Richardson. I'm thrilled to be here today with all of you to celebrate a truly historic moment for the Rappahannock tribe, for the conservation of Fawn's Cliffs, and this absolutely majestic landscape on the Rappahannock River. This is a historic moment for the conservation movement in Virginia, in the Chesapeake Bay watershed, and in the United States. I first met Chief Ann in 2005 when we were working on the establishment of the Chesapeake National Historic Trail, and we've been working together, as she mentioned, ever since to protect Fawn's Cliffs and the lands along the river. Chief Ann is guided by honesty and a strong vision and unwavering dedication to the tribe. And as for me and the Chesapeake Conservancy, we're a loyal, idealistic, relentless conservation warriors for our partners and for our goals in conservation. We were inspired by Chief Ann's vision to return her tribe to the river, to nurture and preserve indigenous ways and identity, as well as protect the stunning beauty of this landscape and these wonderful creatures that live here. Chief Ann has shown us the incredible value of tribal ecological perspectives, that all forms of life deserve ethical consideration, really the personification of the land ethic. She's shown us that the importance of geography and how important it is for political and social and spiritual concepts, especially for tribes, but really for everyone. That land is more than dirt and acres. Land anchors life. And we can look to this landscape to see the beauty and the wonders of the natural world, from the soil and the creatures beneath our feet to the tree canopy and the birds above. That we form a connection with the land, to place. Just like the eagles, and how they're sacred to the tribe, are a part of the Fones Cliffs and the Rappahannock River, so too are the Rappahannock people, a distinct part of this landscape. So today we recognize the more recent history of the tribe and the honest truth of trauma, of losing those ancestral homelands, and the centuries-long history of displacement, marginalization, discrimination. We recognize that awful history. We also recognize that today is a milestone, and this is what Chief Ann has drilled into me. This is a marker for a new era. It was a story of separation and loss, but now it's a story of resilience and restoration and reconnection. And it's a turning point for the Rappahannock people and the Eagles and this special place. And I come before you as a conservationist to say that this moment's a big turning point for the conservation movement too. You know, protecting nature is still, of course, a major and urgent focus for conservation, but we have to acknowledge that inclusion and ownership matter. Who's in the room matters. Who's seated at the table matters. And gone are the days when conservation was meant for some but not all. And these are the days of Chief Ann Richardson. These are the days of Deb Holland. To quote Paul Simon, these are the days of miracles and wonder. The story of protecting Fones Cliffs and giving ownership to the tribe has to be a North Star for the conservation movement in our country and our planet. We can't change the past, but we can change the future. We're very fortunate to have the Secretary with us today, who's helping lead the Biden administration's America the Beautiful initiative. And I'd like to thank the Secretary and her team for joining us. Madam Secretary, I think this is a wonderful example of the principles of America the Beautiful initiative. And I like to say that Chesapeake, where we've protected 22% of the Chesapeake, is a great example. We actually have a big partnership in the Chesapeake called the Chesapeake Conservation Partnership, and my co-convener, Wendy O'Sullivan from the National Park Service, is here with me today. And we have a grand plan, 30 projects, 28,000 acres, to create and advance an inclusive conservation agenda. We make no small plans. And we're not finished here at Fones Cliffs. There's more work to do. There's more land to protect along this beautiful river. There's more land that we can buy for the tribe. And I want to end my remarks with some gratitude. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Carol Angle and her family for their generosity. You're going to hear from her next. But I want to say that she's amazing, and her family's amazing. I'm so grateful to the Wilderness Society for introducing us. I also want to thank NIFWF and Walmart for your significant contribution to this project. You know, the Acres Across America program is so cool and so beneficial, and NIFWF is such an incredibly important partner in the Chesapeake and nationwide, but I'm biased towards Chesapeake. We want to thank the Rappahannock Tribal Council and the tribal members for all your partnership, your friendship, and perseverance. The Fish and Wildlife Service for your dedication to this partnership. Martha, for your leadership. Wendy, for your partnership. I mean, your whole team's been amazing. The Welford family, thank you for hosting us and for your conservation of these lands. The Morris family, for your stewardship of the lands that we bought across the river and your partnership with the tribe. Also, the chairman of the Chesapeake Conservancy is here, my boss, Randy Larimore, so I wanted to thank him and other members of the board that are here. Also, our lawyer, Tim Chopin from Mayor Brown, who volunteered all of his time, as well as the tribe's attorney, Marion and Rick. And lastly, all of our friends and partners that are here from other organizations, the Conservation Fund, the Nature Conservancy, numerous other organizations, we're so grateful for your partnership and support. With that, I will conclude my remarks, and it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Carol Engel, who represents the family of William Dodge Engel, whose generosity, along with NIFWF and Walmart, led to this historic moment.
Chief Ann, Secretary Howland, distinguished guests. Hold that a little closer, and then I'm pretty feeble here. Wild things and wild places, maybe not quite so wild as the windy morning we just had, have a special meaning for the Engel family. Birds in particular inspire and transform us as we watch in awe at their hundreds and thousands of miles of annual migration. On these long journeys, they need places to rest and to find sustenance, places like the Rappahannock River with its waters, woods, and wetlands. My husband, Dr. William Dodge Engel, was an avid waterfowler and but avid waterfowler with Nebraska roots. Despite being from Nebraska, Bill would have felt right at home here on the Rappahannock. As you know, just a few weeks ago, these beautiful marshes were teeming with ducks, geese, and swans, all of which have since migrated north to breed, to fledge their young, to complete the cycle of life. Wild things need places for wildlife. People do too. This has been very abundantly apparent in the past 2 years when we have all flocked to parks and natural areas to escape the emotional and physical stress of a deadly epidemic. We're fortunate that the Rappahannock River Valley National Wildlife Refuge exists. And it does exist because of the dedicated work over the past 26 years. During that time, they have acquired half of the pledged 20,000 acres. And I would hope that with the help of all of you, that this could be accomplished in much less than 26 years, preferably in 8 years by the time of the 2030 date established by the America the Beautiful campaign to put 30% of America's lands and waters in the public domain by 2030. At this time of the year, we see one of the avian behaviors we see is territorial defense. And if we had been in this spot or near here in August of 1608, we might have seen the Rappahannock tribe defending their territory against the English explorers. In the ensuing 100 years, much has ensued, some of it unpleasant reminders of man's capacity to injure fellow man. It also reminds us of the resilience of the human spirit, the spirit that brought this brought the Rappahannock tribe to the river in the first place, that returned them to the river where they once thrived and where they will thrive again. The Fons Cliffs have been a sentinel watching over the Rappahannock for thousands of years, watching over the human and wild inhabitants. So much has changed in the world, but the cliffs are very much the same. On behalf of the Angle family, we are grateful to have the means and the opportunity to help the Rappahannock tribe, the Chesapeake Conservancy, and the Department of the Interior to work as a team to return the river to the Rappahannock. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Engel, and the family. Now I'd like to introduce someone else, Amanda Bassall. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation is dedicated to sustaining, restoring, and enhancing the nation's fish, wildlife, plants, and habitats for current and future generations. Chartered by Congress in 1984, the foundation has grown to become the nation's largest private conservation grant maker, funding more than 20,400 projects and generating a total conservation impact of $7.4 billion. Nothing to sneeze at, is it? Today we are so pleased to be joined by Amanda Bassall, the Foundation's Northeast Regional Director.
Thank you, Jerry, very much. And congratulations to Chief Ann and all of the members of the Rappahannock tribe. It is really such a terrific day for the tribe, and it's a terrific day for the Rappahannock River and for the Chesapeake Bay and for the bald eagles and for all of us who are privileged to be here today to be a part of it. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation is especially honored to be a part of this remarkable day. And we are honored to be able to help the tribe regain some of its ancestral lands on Fons Cliffs and to permanently protect this land for future generations to come. NFWF is funding this project through the Acres for America program. Acres for America is a partnership that we launched with Walmart 18 years ago with the lofty ambition to offset Walmart's real estate footprint by protecting some of the most important places in America. Important for fish and wildlife, important for local communities. So today, to date, the program has funded more than 100 projects, large and small, urban and rural, totaling more than 1.8 million acres across the nation and in 42 states, the District of Columbia, and Puerto Rico. The program is highly competitive, and it really only funds truly exceptional conservation projects of national significance. So I tell you this because the project we're celebrating today on Fons Cliffs stands tall in this distinguished group of projects. The dramatic place, it's just over there, overlooking the Rappahannock River, is important habitat for migratory and resident bird populations, including the largest bald eagle population in the mid-Atlantic. And the associated wetlands are a vital habitat for waterfowl, as Dr. Engel has described so eloquently, including NFWF favorite, the American black duck. Protecting this land also protects the river, its habitats and its water quality, so that it continue to support river herring and striped bass and Atlantic sturgeon. the Atlantic sturgeon that have called this river home for 85 million years. So protecting this land also contributes to protecting the mighty Chesapeake Bay that's downriver. So we are so excited to be a part of this project and so honored. And I am just once again would like to congratulate Chief Ann and all of the tribal members and all of the partners who have made this project possible, the friends, the family who have all made it possible. And I would like to introduce Kathleen Mclaughlin from Walmart. As I've said, Walmart and NIFWF have been working together since 2005 on this amazing partnership to protect some of America's most important places. So today, Acres for America is actually the leading public-private land conservation partnership in the nation. It gives me great pleasure to introduce Kathleen. She is Walmart's Chief Sustainability Officer and President of the Walmart Foundation. In that capacity, she's responsible for programs that drive lasting improvements to economic, environmental, and social systems around the world, and we are so lucky and pleased to have her with us today.
Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you to the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation for your strong partnership in the Acres for America program. And thank you very much to the Rappahannock tribe and to Chief Ann Richardson for having me here today. It's a real honor and privilege to be included in this wonderful celebration of the acquisition of this magnificent land. As Amanda said, Walmart has been partnering with the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation since 2005 on the Acres for America program. And to date, we have been part of conserving many, many multiples of our footprint. I want to make that clear. We don't have a footprint of 1.8 million acres. We're close to that. And it's such an important thing for us because we are in business to serve people. And this effort, Acres for America, is part of a much broader program and ambition we have for nature. We have a goal to conserve, restore, and improve the management of 50 million acres of land around the world connected to the ecosystems that we interact with in our communities and our sourcing and 1 million square miles of ocean. And this program is an important part of that broader ambition. But it's about a lot more than nature, and so many of you have said this already. It's about the restoration of people and nature. It's recognizing the fact that all of us are interdependent on each other and on nature. It's a sign of a movement toward a more regenerative approach to society. And it's why I am personally here today. You know, we mentioned we have about 100 projects, but I'm here at this one because of what this represents. And I just want to mention a few important things. First of all, restoration of the ancestral homeland of your people after hundreds of years of suffering and separation. And it's a beautiful day. And I feel very honored to be part of that and very inspired by the strength and resilience of your tribe through those years. Second, the recognition that people need nature. We can't exist without nature. And, you know, this particular piece of land, we've talked about the wetlands, the home to rare and protected species, the eagle, which is so important not only for our country, but for the Rappahannock tribe and the culture of that community. And third is symbol of partnership. So many of us are here gathered today, and it's taken many, many years to bring this project to fruition. And it's been the hard work of so many people across the conservation community, the government, the tribe, obviously, the local community, even business, the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and of course our partners, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation. So again, thank you so much for bringing us together for this beautiful celebration. And congratulations. It's just a real honor. And my hope is that this particular project inspires many, many people to go in this direction as well. So thank you.
Now I'd like to introduce Jamie Williams. I'd like to thank Jamie Williams for he is the CEO of the Wilderness Society, And as you've heard, he was instrumental in introducing the Anglo family to Chesapeake Conservancy. He's the matchmaker who brought us together today. Welcome, Jamie.
Thank you, and it is just such an honor to be here today for such a momentous event. I want to thank Chief Ann for inviting me to stand with her and with the tribe and with you all. It's such a historic milestone for the tribe. It's been an incredible inspiration to work with Chief Ann and to work with the Chesapeake Conservancy in support of your vision, Chief Ann, and the tribe's vision to reclaim these sacred ancestral homelands on Fones Cliff, and in support of a conservation vision that is based in indigenous leadership, knowledge, and stewardship. As Joel said, today really does mark a new direction for conservation, here and nationally, one that acknowledges and corrects this nation's tragic history of injustices towards Native Americans by supporting indigenous-led efforts to conserve and manage ancestral homelands. The Wilderness Society is deeply committed to being part of this new direction here at Fones Cliff and across the nation now and forever to come. I really want to express my gratitude to the partners, of which we are just a small part of, who rallied to make this day possible. The Chesapeake Conservancy that worked so relentlessly for this day, Dr. Engel and her incredible family that really rallied to make this happen, the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, Walmart, and of course, Secretary Howland and the Biden administration. So Madam Secretary, your commitment to indigenous-led conservation and to collaborative management that respects tribal sovereignty is such a beacon of hope for all of us. And indeed, the government-to-government partnership that this conservation partnership represents really is a model, and one that can be built upon across the nation in so many important places that are in need of the kind of restoration, the rejuvenation, the resiliency that everyone has spoken to so profoundly here. I really believe this is the kind of work that is the bow wave of our collective effort to conserve 30% of our lands by 2030. This is the way we must be going, and it really is a new day for conservation and for justice. Now, with all that said, I want to say that we must all continue to work to realize Chief Ann's and the tribe's full vision for Fones Cliff. There's a lot more work to be done there and beyond. And we are committed and looking forward to continue to learn from, to support, and be a partner in this incredible collective effort to leave a better future for plants, animals, people, and the generations to come. So thank you.
Okay, our next speaker will be Martha Williams. Has spent her career fostering the love of the outdoors and stewarding the protection of natural resources. It is my distinct honor to welcome to the podium the Director of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, Martha Williams.
Thank you, and I am so grateful to be here for this celebration today, for this return to the river. It has been deeply moving to join Chief Ann and the Rappahannock tribe at this naturally, culturally, and spiritually significant location. And I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to the tribe for inviting us to gather on their ancestral homelands for this event. I would also like to recognize the Chesapeake Conservancy and the Rappahannock River Valley National Wildlife Refuge and their staff for all of their hard work supporting this event, especially Wendy Weber, Scott Kahn, and Mark Maggini, who have been essential to championing this unique acquisition on behalf of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Today, we celebrate this remarkable feat of collaboration through careful coordination of all of the partners represented here. These lands will be permanently protected from development. The conservation easement donated by the Chesapeake Conservancy will allow the Fish and Wildlife Service to work in the interests of the tribe and its citizens, the local community, and wildlife by conserving essential habitat while the Rappahannock tribe maintains ownership. This area of the Rappahannock River is one of the refuge's highest conservation priorities. The forested bluffs, reaching nearly 100 feet above the shoreline, support high concentrations of bald eagles throughout the year, and we were lucky enough to see a number of them guide our way today. Migratory songbirds, including several species of conservation concern, use the forests, swamps, and the steep ravines of this property. But beyond the natural resource values of this site are the recreational and educational opportunities it offers. In addition to hiking, bird watching, visitors now with tribal citizens will also be able to learn about tribal history, tribal culture, and conservation through relevant and meaningful interpretive programs provided by the tribe alongside the service. This project, as others have said, exemplifies the services, the Department of the Interior's, this administration's commitment to honoring our trust responsibility for tribes and dedication to incorporating the traditional knowledge, experience, and perspectives of tribal nations into our management practices. It's a new day. It also complements the services Chesapeake Watershed Investments for Landscape Design, or Chesapeake Wild, grant program, which furthers the Biden-Harris administration's goal to tackle climate change, increase equitable access to public lands, and bolstering the economy. The Chesapeake Conservancy and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation are valued partners in this initiative, which received $4 million in the Consolidated Appropriations Act of 2022, signed by President Biden this very month. As we stand together in this sacred place, we're reminded of what true partnership can look like and can achieve. Passionate people working collectively with a shared mission of conserving our natural and cultural resources for the benefit of future generations. Thank you. Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Martha, that was beautiful. Thank you so much. So now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce Secretary Deb Holland, a member of the Pueblo Laguna and a 35th generation New Mexican, and was one of the first Native American women elected to serve in Congress. She made her mark there, and now she has made history when she became the first Native American to serve as a cabinet secretary. I am so proud to introduce Secretary of the Interior, Deb Holland.
Thank you, everyone. It's so kind, so kind. Gosh, I whispered over to Chief Ann before this all started and said, I hope I can get through my remarks without crying. So I'll really try to do that. It's not often that we get to attend such a meaningful celebration. And so I'm so honored to be here with all of you, especially with the tribal members here, and feeling so proud of your leadership, Chief Ann. Thank you. You know, in New Mexico, we don't have a lot of women tribal leaders. And so when I'm in the presence of one, it does my heart really good. So thank you so much for sharing this day with me. So hello, everyone. It's great to be here today, and thank you for that very kind welcome. I'm honored today to visit the homeland of the Rappahannock people. Chief Ann Richardson, thank you for welcoming all of us on your homeland, our whole team. I'm just going to say very quickly, I work alongside the most amazing people in this country. The Department of Interior staff and appointees that were appointed by President Biden, who have worked in this area for sometimes decades and decades. I work alongside people who have been at the department for 50 or 60 years. That's how dedicated they are to this country and to the people who live here. So that's where we all come from, locking arms to make sure that we are seeing through President Biden's vision for the country, but also making sure that Indian tribes have a real seat at the table. And so I am very grateful to be here alongside the folks who I work with every single day. While listening to the drum, and as we closed our eyes in prayer, I reflected on how much Virginia means to the people who live here, to the people indigenous to this land who were also the first stewards, to those whose families have lived here for generations, to those who rely on the land for sustenance, and to those who come to this area to find the quiet and peace that nature brings. We're here today because we recognize the importance of preserving this sacred ground. I know that Fong's Cliffs is a significant place in the Rappahannock tribe's heritage and culture. Your ancestors cherished these lands for many generations, and despite centuries of land disputes, shifting policies, your connection to these cliffs and to this river remain unbroken. Today, with the reacquisition of 465 acres of land for the tribe, we honor that history and strengthen that connection. Now, a major milestone like this doesn't happen overnight, and you've heard from all the speakers just how hard everyone worked to see this through, and I'm grateful to every single person who had a hand in this. An achievement of this scope requires incredible passion, commitment, trust, and collaboration. To everyone who played a role in helping return these lands to their original peoples, thank you. A heartfelt thank you. Your dedication, your generosity, and your stewardship carried this project over the finish line, and you see how happy everyone is today. That's a great payoff. The collaboration we celebrate today is just one example of how the Department of the Interior takes our responsibility to tribes seriously. Words matter, but so do actions. Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack and I announced an order last year to affirm our department's commitments to protecting the treaty, religious subsistence, and cultural interests of federally recognized Indian tribes. Through partnerships like this one, we put those principles into action. We are proud today to join the Rappahannock tribe in co-stewardship of this portion of their ancestral homeland, and we look forward to drawing upon tribal expertise, experience, and indigenous knowledge in helping to manage the wildlife and habitat on this property. In recognition of today's success, the department will continue to identify and support opportunities to consolidate tribal homelands and empower tribal stewardship of these natural resources. I am personally excited by the tribe's plans for this site, which include educating the public about their history and indigenous approaches to conservation, These efforts will also connect future generations of Rappahannock youth to their tribal traditions and the river with which they share their name. This project is what President Biden's America the Beautiful initiative is all about, supporting an inclusive and collaborative approach to conserve and restore America's lands and waters for the benefit of all people. America the Beautiful offers us an opportunity to build upon existing partnerships and to support efforts led by those who know, love, and have a stake in these landscapes. When we work together to restore tribal homelands and conserve significant locations like Fawn's Cliffs, we continue the complicated but necessary work of honoring a shared history and recognizing our national identity, an identity that is rooted in the stories of faith, courage, resilience, and an unshakable connection to Mother Earth. It's an honor to be here today to celebrate with all of you. Thank you so much again, and congratulations to our friends of the Rappahannock tribe. And with that, I'll turn it back to you, Chief Ann. Thank you all so much.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Mark, you want to come up? As a token of our appreciation for who you are, we wanted to present you with a gift that you would remember us by, which is wampum, which was our traditional money, because you are a value. You are a treasure to us. We're so proud of you. Thank you so much. And Dr. Engel, I'm not going to make you walk back up here, but I'm going to have a gift for you from wampum. Amanda Bassall. The day I met you down at To Do Cafe, and we talked about this project, I thank Walmart for the Acres Across America funding, but without you, none of that would have been put together with our project. And I want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts for the work that you've done on our behalf. For this project will impact our tribe for generations to come. So we are giving you a gift of wampum as well, because you are a treasure to us. I'm full. This is very surreal to me and to our tribal members to stand here and watch this ceremony that returns this land to our tribe. I want to thank all of our tribal council. Would you please stand to be introduced to the crowd? I want to thank you for your long traditional leadership that does not bring corporate America into our tribe, into tribal affairs, but protects the traditions of our people, that serves the needs of our people, and contributes to who we are as a tribe. I would like to thank the Rappahannock staff for their relentless work on this project and working with the partners that have helped us put all of this together. I would like to thank my drum, the Mascapel drum. For carrying on the spirit of our people. I would like to thank our members for being who you are, for being willing to volunteer no matter what I ask you to do. All the crazy things, ideas that I throw up, and you all grab them and run wild with them. Thank you all for your service and your love for our community and for this land of ours. And I would like a special thanks to the Welford family, who I became friends with a number of years ago. They are an amazing family. I love you dearly. Thank you for hosting this and the many other things that we have had you do on our behalf. And you never say no. You're always willing to help. Hill and Alice, Harrison and Sue, God bless you always. Thank you all for being here with us today to join in this momentous occasion, this exuberant celebration that our people have now to be restored once again to the river. Thank you so much, and may God richly bless each of you. Good day.